What if I told you that starting today, yes, today, the August 22nd, 2026, the way millions of people over 60 in the UK can access their own money has quietly changed? Not next month, not next year, today, and here's the thing that's really got people talking: these new rules weren't exactly plastered across every front page. A lot of people are only finding out right now in real time that something has shifted, and for some it could mean longer queues at the bank, more questions when you try to take out cash, and in some cases, actual limits on how much you can withdraw in a single visit. Now, before you panic, stay with me, because not everything about this is bad news. Some of it actually has protections built in, but you do need to know what's changed, what hasn't, and most importantly, what you should do before you get caught out. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what these new cash withdrawal rules mean for people over 60 in the UK. I'll explain what's actually changed, who it affects most, what your rights are, and the simple steps you can take today to make sure you're not left short. Whether you rely on cash for your weekly shopping, use it to pay your cleaner or your grandkids' pocket money, or you simply don't trust cards and just like having notes in your purse or wallet, this video is for you. So let's get into it. Right? So first things first, what exactly has changed from the August 22nd, 2026? The Financial Conduct Authority, that's the FCA, the body that regulates UK banks and financial institutions, has introduced an updated framework around what's called cash withdrawal monitoring. This sits under the broader umbrella of the UK's economic crime and corporate transparency regulations that have been rolling out over the past couple of years. Now, in plain English, what this means is that banks and building societies are now required to apply stricter automated checks when customers, particularly those aged 60 and over, attempt to withdraw cash over certain thresholds. We're talking amounts over £1,000 in a single transaction, or cumulative withdrawals that exceed £2,000 within a 7-day rolling period. If you hit those thresholds, your bank is now obligated to flag the transaction and, in some cases, pause it pending a brief verification step. And here's where it gets personal. Imagine you're 72, you've got a big family gathering this weekend, you want to give your grandchildren some birthday money, pay for the catering in cash because it's cheaper, and maybe have a bit of spending money set aside. You go to the counter or the ATM, try to take out £1,200, and suddenly you're being asked questions, or worse, the transaction doesn't go through at all. That's the kind of situation people are already reporting, and that's exactly why this matters. Now, you might be wondering, why is this specifically targeting older people? That doesn't sound fair, and honestly, I get that reaction completely. But let me explain the reasoning, even if it's not entirely satisfying. The truth is, the rules aren't exclusively aimed at over 60s, they apply across the board. But the reason this age group is feeling it more acutely comes down to a few things. First, cash usage. Statistics from the FCA's own 2025 Access to Cash review showed that people over 60 are significantly more likely to rely on cash for day-to-day spending than any other age group. Around 63% of over 65s in the UK still use cash regularly, compared to just 28% of people under 40. So, when a rule changes around cash, older people feel it more. Simple as that. Second, transaction patterns. Older adults are more likely to make larger, infrequent cash withdrawals rather than small daily ones. You might take out £800 once a fortnight rather than £50 every few days. That pattern now looks more unusual to the automated systems these banks are using. Third, and this one is a bit more sensitive: financial abuse and scam protection. Part of the reasoning behind these rules is actually to protect older people from being coerced into withdrawing large sums by fraudsters. We've all seen the stories about romance scams, grandparent scams, and courier fraud. The banks are trying to intervene before money walks out the door in those situations. The intention is protective, but in practice it can feel intrusive, and that tension between protection and autonomy is at the heart of why so many people are frustrated this week. Here's where I want you to pay close attention, because this is the part most videos won't bother telling you. Even with these new rules in place, you still have rights, strong ones. Under the FCA framework, banks must, and this is not optional, provide you with a clear reason if they delay or decline a cash withdrawal. They cannot simply say "computer says no" and send you on your way. If you're asked to answer questions, those questions must be proportionate and non-discriminatory. More importantly, if your bank delays your withdrawal for verification purposes, they are required to complete that verification process within a reasonable time frame, typically same day for in-branch requests. And here's something that surprised even me when I looked into it. If a bank is consistently and unjustifiably making cash access difficult for you based on your age, that can constitute indirect discrimination under the Equality Act 2010. It's worth knowing that exists, even if you never need to use it. If you feel you've been treated unfairly, your first step is to complain formally to your bank in writing. If they don't resolve it, you escalate to the Financial Ombudsman Service, which is free to use and genuinely independent. Don't just walk away quietly. These rights exist because people fought for them. Now let's talk about ATMs specifically, because the rules work slightly differently there. At most standard ATMs, your individual bank's daily withdrawal limits still apply, typically between £250 and £500 per day depending on your account type. Those haven't changed. What has changed is the back-end monitoring of patterns. So if you're using multiple ATMs across a day or over a week to withdraw amounts that cumulatively trigger that £2,000 rolling threshold, your bank's fraud system may automatically lock your card or require you to verify your identity before further withdrawals are permitted. This is something a lot of people don't expect. You feel fine, your card isn't lost or stolen, but suddenly it stops working at the cash machine. That's not a technical fault. That could be the new monitoring in action. The practical tip here, and I'll give you a whole list of tips in just a moment, is to do larger planned withdrawals in branch rather than across multiple ATMs. In branch, you can speak to someone and address any queries on the spot. It's slower, I know, but it's much less likely to result in a frozen card. Let me take a moment to speak to you directly, wherever you're coming from. If you're someone in your 60s or 70s who still gets your pension paid and takes out a regular lump sum to manage your weekly budget in cash, you need to know about the £2,000 rolling limit. Plan your withdrawals in advance. Don't just go when you need it. If you're a carer or family member who manages finances for an elderly relative, maybe you've got power of attorney, or you're just the person who pops to the bank on their behalf, be aware that third-party withdrawals on someone else's account are being scrutinized even more closely under these rules. Carry documentation if you can. If you're someone who runs a small informal household economy entirely on cash, paying the window cleaner, splitting bills with a lodger, buying at car boot sales, you might start finding friction you've never experienced before. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, it just means the system is now looking more carefully. And if you're someone who has been approached by anyone, a new friend online, someone at the door, even someone claiming to be from your bank and asked to withdraw cash and hand it over or send it somewhere, please stop. That's almost certainly a scam, and ironically, these new rules are partly designed to catch exactly that scenario before it ruins someone's life. Right, here's the part you've been waiting for. Let's get practical. Tip 1. Know your bank's specific policy. Every high street bank, Barclays, Lloyds, NatWest, Halifax, Santander, CBC, will have updated their terms in line with the new FCA guidance, but their specific application will differ slightly. Call your bank's customer service line, or better yet, visit your branch this week and simply ask, what are the current limits on cash withdrawals and what triggers a verification check? Write it down. Know your numbers. Tip 2. Give your bank a heads up for large withdrawals. If you know you're going to need a significant amount of cash, let's say for a holiday, a family event, or a planned purchase, call your bank 24 to 48 hours ahead. This is already good practice for fraud prevention, but under the new rules it's more important than ever. Most banks can flag your account so the withdrawal goes smoothly. Tip 3. Keep a simple paper record. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but keeping a small notebook where you log your withdrawals date, amount, what it was for, gives you something concrete to refer to if you're ever questioned. It also helps you track whether you're approaching that rolling threshold before your bank's system does. Tip 4. Know the Ombudsman route. Save this in your phone or write it down. The Financial Ombudsman Service can be reached at 08000234567. It's free, it's impartial, and they deal with exactly this kind of issue. If your bank acts unreasonably, that's your next call. Tip 5. Don't avoid cash if you don't want to. I want to be really clear about this. These rules are not a ban on cash. They are not a push toward a cashless society, at least not officially. You still have every right to use cash, and under the access to cash legislation that was enshrined in UK law, banks have legal obligations to ensure reasonable access. If your local branch has closed and cash access is genuinely difficult, that's a complaint worth making to your bank and to your MP. Now, stepping back for a second, these changes don't exist in a vacuum. They're part of a broader shift that's been building for years: the slow, gradual tightening of cash infrastructure in the UK, branch closures, ATM reductions, contactless limits rising, and now monitoring thresholds on withdrawals. Each individual change looks small, but taken together, they paint a picture of a financial system that is, whether intentionally or not, nudging people away from cash. For a lot of people over 60, that's not just inconvenient, it's genuinely threatening to their sense of financial independence, and I think that's worth saying out loud. Your preference for cash is not a character flaw. It's not a sign you're behind the times. It's a legitimate choice that reflects your experience, your values, and your right to manage your own money the way you see fit. These rules may be well-intentioned. Some of them probably are, but good intentions don't automatically mean good outcomes for everyone, and the people most affected deserve to understand exactly what's happening and why. So let's wrap this up with what we know. From the August 22nd, 2026, new cash withdrawal monitoring rules are in effect across UK banks. If you're over 60 and you regularly withdraw cash, particularly amounts over £1,000 at a time or more than £2,000 in a rolling week, you may experience new checks, questions, or temporary delays. Your rights are still intact. You can access your own money, but being informed, planning ahead, and knowing your options will save you a serious headache. Call your bank, ask the questions, give notice on large withdrawals, and if anyone ever treats you unfairly, the financial ombudsman is there. Most importantly, don't let this shake your confidence. You've managed your money your whole life. These rules are a change to the system, not a verdict on you. Now, if this video helped you today, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. We cover benefits, money-saving news, and financial changes that matter to real people in plain English, no fluff. And I'd genuinely love to know, has this affected you or someone you know already? Have you been to the bank today and run into any issues? Drop it in the comments below. Not only does it help other viewers feel less alone, it also tells me what to cover next. And if you want to keep going, I'll link a video right here about the latest changes to UK pension access rules, because that's another big one that a lot of people still don't know about. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.